The C-141 was extremely important for the United States Air Force because for the first time we had a transport aircraft that could carry cargo and men at the same speed as our bombers and our fighters could go. Before, they were piston-engine aircraft. They couldn't keep up with them. So we had to have something that was able to deploy for global reach quickly. And that's what we developed, the C-141, with 4 engines, 4 jet engines, about 500 miles an hour. And it brought the United States Air Force in the 1960s into the modern age. This was the first aircraft to actually go into Hanoi to bring our POWs out in February of 1973. Absolute monumental day in American history. And for those of us who were alive at the time, we remember seeing this and the tears that flowed not only from the ex-POWs but from the American people, because no matter what people thought about the war, we were still having our Americans coming home, so it's important. That's why this aircraft in this new 4th building at the National Museum of the United States Air Force is going to be so important. People will be able to walk up and actually see the Hanoi Taxi, see for themselves how big the aircraft was and actually how small it was. When you step inside, it looks big on the inside, but when you see what these men, it must have seemed like heaven on the aircraft for those men at that first day in February of 1973. The Hanoi flight was probably the most important one it ever made, and it's certainly the best known. It's one of the best known airlift missions of all time. The aircraft continued to fly after 1973 through 2006. It was enlarged and they had work done on it, but it continued to fly. It flew humanitarian missions, it flew other types of missions for the Air Force and for the American people.
Hello, folks. Every time I see it, I just get chills because it was the one that brought me home. It's a symbol of freedom to me. Was shot down on my 69th mission, bombing the headquarters of the Western Vietnam military training area. I was hit right on my final dive bomb run, and I went ahead and pickled it, and did get a direct hit, by the way. And in the process of ejection, my primary system did not work, and the stick was over my right leg, frozen, and I had to do some gymnastics in the cockpit and went for my alternate, and as a result, I broke my back. I was bent over, and it shoots you out pretty hard. And I was captured real quick because it was right in the middle of a training area. And 3 days later, they took me to Hanoi, and that's where I spent, well, they moved me 26 times in almost 8 years. Oh, it's probably about right in this area here. Since I was the 12th one to come on, I was sitting up front. They had 41 seats and 41 beds in the back at the time in case we were injured, but I was able to walk on. I think some of us thought something might happen at the last minute, and I was just holding my breath. And fact is, when we finally took off, I went up to the cockpit, and it was a reserve crew out of California. And I said, let me know when we're 10 miles out over international waters. And he said, just in another minute or so. And when he did, he told me, and I turned around and hollered to all 41 of them, we're free. And when we landed at Clark, you couldn't ask for a nicer welcome. I don't know where they got all the people. I didn't think there was that many civilians there, but they were just lined up. And really made us feel great. That door here is, the girls would bring water, and you're supposed to bow every time you saw a Vietnamese. They'd open that, and you'd hear it squeak, and you'd have to go up there and hand them your water jug and bow. I never ever bowed to them. I maybe gave my head nod. In fact, his General Reisner said, Kerry, they're going to kill you if you don't do that. And I said, well, I'm going to hold off as long as I can.
And I refused to let myself smile until I
Mike McGrath. Mike McGrath.
C-141, and then the smile broke out, and then inside we were all hugging, and not hugging, but guys don't hug, girls hug. But we were all
we were hugging.
shaking hands and talking to you.